Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of North American Muslim Foundation, funded by New Horizon. The program is Senior Talk, and we are in conversation with Mr. Haider Ashraf. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum assalam.
How are you, sir?
Good, alhamdulillah. All well.
Welcome to our show, sir. So
Thank you.
please tell us, when did you arrive in Canada?
I came in the year 2000, September 2000.
Okay.
Almost 22 years.
Okay, wow. So you have seen quite a lot of changes in Canada, I must believe.
For sure, for sure. I'll briefly talk about why did I come to Canada. Probably it might be important for others to hear.
Sure.
I'm from India. And in India, I was living in the province of Punjab, where I used to say Sat Sri Akal, Namaste Ji,
Okay.
etc. So for one of the purpose was that my kids could get into some Islamic culture, and I have been told that the Canada does have open society where we can practice. So I'm glad that has been done. My
Right.
children have been brought up in this Islamic culture, and my daughter has done engineering with the hijab and abaya,
MashaAllah.
and my both sons are also practicing. Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah, that's amazing. So I believe you're right now, you were an employment consultant, correct? So
Yes.
please help us knowing that once you landed here, did you find any kind of hardships, or did you have to find some kind of equivalency for your achievements in academics to change towards the requirements of Canada? Was that any of an issue for you?
Well, it was quite challenging, especially because I didn't know beforehand that what's going to happen in Canada in terms of the employment, etc. But I explored it myself.
Okay.
I was lucky to start a call center job within like 15 days of my arrival.
That's nice.
Probably when I got the SIN, as soon as I got my SIN, I started working. But I was open to do anything. Despite the fact I have done my PhD in engineering from IIT Delhi, which is one of the prestigious institutions, but I have left everything back. I mean, I burned the boats, and then I was looking to explore everything. So
Right.
I started doing that job. Then I explored doing a course in HR. I have diversified myself in HR in India as well.
Okay.
So I did a course from Ryerson University in HR. Having a quality control engineering background, I did a course in ASMI, which is American Society of Quality Engineering. So I explored everything possible. But alhamdulillah, I started working in one of the industries called Celestica at that time. And it was a shift starting from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Wow.
But I still think I have no regrets. I'm happy I had that job. So I think it was very important to stay positive and not talk about back home what you had, like a gardener and a Mai and
Of
so on.
course.
So staying positive really give me back, and alhamdulillah, the job as employment consultant that I am doing today is almost about for 15 years or more.
MashaAllah, that's amazing. So please tell us, what were your first initial experiences landing in Canada? Like, this was a new environment for yourself, and did you have children at that time? So did they have any issues in settling in?
Sort of. My daughter was, I guess, 4 years old at the time. My two
Okay.
children, they have grade 10 and grade 12. So we had to deal with getting into the education. One of the things that I remember was that when they got into the school, and their school advisor will say, you know, the best thing to do is to become a plumber or a auto mechanic. And I was thinking, what? I mean, it's good to be. There's nothing wrong to be in plumber or those trades, but you know, with the Indian mentality, you want your children to be high, like maybe engineer or
Of
doctor
course.
or lawyers, etc. So it took us a time. My children were thinking, oh, we can own a car while you are a plumber, so why not do this? So I had to struggle with that in terms of dealing with their career path.
Right.
Alhamdulillah, they ended up doing, as I said, my son and daughters ended up doing engineering, and my other son did his business course from York University.
Wow.
So yeah, those were the challenges.
MashaAllah.
Some people were not really positive. Oh, why you have come here, or why you are doing so well here. There, I mean, I never took that seriously. Like I say, I've come here, and it was Allah's maslahat and Allah's mercy. So I'm here, and alhamdulillah, I went through all that, and I'm
So your
happy.
reason of coming here was basically to help your children become more strong in religious ways. So now my question for you is that when you came here, what kind of community as Muslims did you face? Was it welcoming for you? Was it easy for you to adjust in the Muslim society for yourself?
I think they were welcoming. To start with, where I was staying with one of my relatives, that was kind of a not a Muslim dominated area.
Okay.
So we didn't have a lot of Muslims known, and the person that I was living with was also not very familiar with the community. So it took us a time, but then I moved after about 2 years. I moved to Thorncliffe.
Okay.
So that was the time I started interacting with the people and
Right.
having. And at that time, I ended up with the organization called Islamic Supreme Council of Canada. I got
Right.
connected with them, and I was working with Celestica. Somebody told me about RIS, Reviving Islamic Spirit Conference. Despite my limited resources, I managed to get a ticket for my 2 kids. They weren't there for the first day. They didn't like it, but I let them go on the second day. But alhamdulillah, later on, my younger son, Amar Ashraf, he continued with RIS, and he's one of the organizers of RIS at the moment as well.
MashaAllah. Wow.
And as I said, my daughter, she also liked public speaking, so she was going to some Islamic programs where she will talk on different topics of Islam or the community.
Amazing.
And so my son, the other son was involved with this program. They have the program Mississauga every year. What do they call as
Muslim Fest?
Muslim Fest. Thank you. Yeah, Muslim Fest. So they all got connected, like Muslim Fest,
Right.
RIS, etc. And of course, as you asked, that Muslim community was very welcoming, helping.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So now I would take you to other communities as well, since it is a diverse society. How did you feel about other communities, their approach towards you and your perspective about them?
Well, as far as if I especially talk about Canadian white community or Christian community, for example, at my work, all the places, they were all very positive. I mean, I was surprised that they will never talk anything negative. They were good about it. I was very used to in India to mix with multicultural or multi-faith peoples, Christians,
Right.
Hindus, etc. So the first place that I was living with, I used to say hello to my neighbor, and when it was Christmas, so I thought, oh, it's the Christmas time, we should be visiting them. And then they were not, oh no, I don't celebrate Christmas. And similarly, at my other place that I was living, my next door neighbor was an old lady. I used to go to Christmas with some gifts items. So I think I never end up meeting her. So I'll leave the gifts at her doorstep. So that was in about residential or personal areas. But as far as the office is concerned, they were very cooperative, very helpful, very positive. No negative remarks. So it was good to interacting with other communities.
They felt you felt at home with them as well.
Absolutely, as
That's
far as
amazing.
when my staff or my colleagues were concerned.
That's
for
amazing.
sure.
So in this time of these 22 years, do you ever felt that you required any kind of government aid for yourself or for your children?
To start with, when I was looking for a job, I used to go to different resource centers, and it was a help from, I think I used to go to different resource centers. One of them was in TNO. They referred me to a program by TDSB.
Yes, TDSB, yes.
TDSB. And that program helped me to get me trained for the job search.
Right.
So that was basically one important program that I remember that helped me to get my job and get me going. I don't remember anything very other specific, but yes, there were some government programs that helped.
That's amazing. And for your children, did you ever require any kind of government aid or government support? Or even for that matter, even for your wife? for your spouse?
Not really. Alhamdulillah, everything was good. My children, they got scholarships and what they call support, that is funding they get from the university. So scholarships and other supports.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, alhamdulillah.
That's amazing to
Yeah.
know. Then we come to forward, we see pandemic time. What were your thoughts? What are your thoughts about pandemic? How were you able to cope up with pandemic?
Well, it was really challenging. I remember it was almost a month or so that we were not able to meet our own kids, like my 2 sons and 1 daughter.
Oh.
Eventually, we decided to come in a parking lot and meet them in a parking lot from a distance.
Oh, wow.
And then also the way I was socializing or attending different community events, etc. They have all stopped being done.
Right.
And then they started doing some of the programs on Zoom. And the challenge is like, if you are doing grocery, you have to wash them, clean them, and so on.
Of course.
So it was challenging, at least for the first year, and then second year it started getting better.
Right.
But now back to normal.
Back to normal, absolutely.
Yeah.
And during that time, you were working as well during pandemic time?
Exactly. We were working from home.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
so
right.
that was a blessing.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. So that switch was easy for you. You got immense amount of help from your company to get settled with the Zoom and the online, because that must have been new for you.
Yeah, it took some time really to get used to that kind of system, and my organization, Youth Employment Services, also took a time to really sort out the issues,
Right.
make access to all kind of data, and so it took them some time, slowly and gradually, to get used to those, provide all those facilities, etc.
Okay.
But eventually, I mean, I'm still working what you call hybrid model, so I have to
Oh,
go.
you are, okay.
Yeah, so we go twice a week to work, and the rest of the 3 days I work from home.
That's amazing, I would say.
Yeah,
You're one of the lucky ones. So please tell me, during that time, during pandemic time, did you ever require any kind of government support, or did you receive any kind of government aid? You know how they were paying all the citizens. Did you receive those supports as well?
Alhamdulillah, I didn't need that because I was working, and and had my kids. My son did get some support from the government.
Okay.
He was running his own business,
Right.
and there was some supports coming, I was told. So he availed those supports, and I was aware of different kind of supports that are available, sharing that with the community, and yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. So would you like to share with us as well the kind of supports that the elderlies did get?
Sorry, say it again.
Would you like to share with us the supports that you said that you were aware of, some supports that was given to the elderlies? Because I'm sure many of our viewers might not be aware of those kind of supports from the government. So if you would like to share with us.
One, that those who have lost their jobs and they have certain minimum income of $5,000 or something, they were able to get government support for quite a long time.
Okay.
Then there were the businesses who are getting the support if they have hired certain number of people, say, in the past year, at least one person or so.
Right.
There was some criteria for that.
Okay.
They were able to get some supports. There was a program for businesses for rent, relief in the rent. I don't remember exactly, but I think they were getting some 50% relief or whatever.
Right.
So there were quite a few government programs that helping the people, businesses, individuals,
Right.
in terms of for seniors who were already getting the pensions, etc. They continued getting those pensions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So now that we are coming back to our original lives, although yes, we are not back to where we started before pandemic, what changes do you think that we are seeing in today's day and age, and are you finding any kind of challenges for yourself in settling down in the new era?
Well, I think it is still not back to normal and 100%. I mean, if you go to the doctor's office, you have to follow certain norms.
Of course.
The big gatherings that we used to have, they haven't yet been come back to the normal.
Absolutely.
Going to the mosque you have to be careful about it, and they some different kind of stains, COVID stains, or they still keep on coming even these days. There's a
Of
lot
course.
them. So I don't think it is completely back to normal. If you're traveling in TTC, for example, you still have your mask there, and so there are some restrictions that still there. But there's quite a few things, like air travel has become much easier than it was used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Any advice that you would like to give to our elderly, our seniors who are watching this episode?
To elders, I will say, stay positive. There's nothing wrong sharing with my age. I'm 70 now, alhamdulillah. And I'm still working. And I think I'll continue to work till I can, or I'm so blessed that I can go to work and so on. So keeping yourself engaged and doing something. Even if I'm thinking of retiring, I have to think about what to do when I get retired. So I think it is very important for us to keep ourselves busy. I've heard the people who have retired and then their health have deteriorated because they were not doing something else. I always recommend masajids and other institutions to start the programs for seniors.
Absolutely.
And quite a few masajids and institutions have programs for seniors. I guess NAMF is also organizing a visit to Niagara Falls soon.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and so are other institutions doing it. So it's very important for seniors to really keep themselves busy and engaged and stay positive. Take some care of their health in terms of the food, the supplements, exercises, yogas, etc., which will keep them healthy and get them going, inshallah.
Right. Any advice for our youngsters, our young generation that's about to step into the new world?
I think youngster requires quite a lot of advice, especially to be ready to face the challenges. Stay positive that they can go up. They can become the CEO of Rogers. They can become CEO of TTC or whatever. But those who think that they cannot, I don't think that's the thing. They should be ready to go as high as they can. So working hard is very important. I end up asking quite a few youngsters that, do you need a job or do you want a job? Because that's my profession as employment consultant. And quite a few of them are of the opinion they want a job. They don't really need a job because they have some support. But they don't have, they don't think in terms of long term, like if they need a little money to buy a phone or a branded shoe, etc. But they don't think themselves that they need money for future, like they need money to buy a house or a car or help the family or help people, needy people. So it is important for them to start working hard. I remember one of the situation when I have met a business person who was I don't know if he was a billionaire, but millionaire for sure. And he said his son was doing law course. I don't know which law school was. And he said, I asked him to take off for a year and then work in Tim Hortons. Okay. So our people feel shy about working in Tim Hortons or Pizza, but I always recommend them, keep working, start working, but keep focus on long-term your job goal, your long-term goals, career goals. But don't feel shy about working and doing anything else.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Ashraf. Your advices are absolutely precious, and you are a true asset to our community. With this, we come to our end of our episode for today. And I am going to be meeting you in another episode. Till then, you guys take care of yourself. Please remember, you're watching North American Muslim Foundation Senior Talk, funded by New Horizon. I'm your host, Tathir Abbas. Take care. Khuda Hafiz.